Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. In this video, we are going to quickly talk about authentication and how to authorize yourself into your OpenShift console. Now, do remember that there is this identity provider, and you can use multiple different types of identity provider, and you can log in into OpenShift via multiple identity providers. For example, you can use Google authentication, you can use GitHub authentication, you can use Microsoft authentication, and having an ID with them will enable you to log in if there is a permission given for you. Okay, so that's basically is what authentication, the identity provider is all about. So OAuth enables you to do that, and OAuth is the latest version of like the authentication providers. Now, there are these regular users, which we normally create them under the user, which is the most often used users, and then there are system users, like system user as in infrastructure users, which the system has created for the APIs. Okay, some system users are automatically created, including cluster administrator, where I've logged into kubeadmin. So that is a user which is autonomously created at the time of installation. That is for emergency, and that's an offline user. You don't need to be connected to any kind of a IDP for logging into that user. So if there is any problem with the IDP, after all, that user will be the only user to log into your service. And then there are these service accounts over here, where the service accounts are object represents that represents service accounts, which is created automatically. Like you can see that these are already there uh, when the projects are created. Now, a project admin can use this service accounts to access another service. So basically, if you're a user, you'll be using it through user. And if you are a program, if you are a computer service, you have to use service account for service to service communication. So that's basically is what a service account does. All right. So now, what we can see over here, you can also create a service account, you can also create a user, and you can also create a group. It is highly recommended that users have right after user creation or right before the user creation, create a group, like 3-4 groups: administrator, developer, tester, and then operator. And then you can give a different set of permissions to this group, and then start adding users and make them part of these groups, so that you can classify and give the right privileges and minimalistic privileges to the right person. All right, and service accounts will be used by the services. So if your service is using some other service, then you have to create a service account for that. Authentication and authorization are greatly detailed and covered in the DO280 training. So that's the next level of operating a production cluster part 2, where we will talk about creating an IDP and setting up service accounts, using roles and bindings, stuff like that. So this is the quick introduction I wanted to give you on the authentication side of things. May not be like so many questions they would ask about authentication. There could be a scenario where once they've asked one of the student to add a user, and that's maximum they would ask you to do. Okay, so they would already have that part of Red Hat IDP, which would have been like part of the training already, where the system is already connected to Red Hat IDP. That through that you'll be logging in. So they would ask you to add a user or change the permission of a group, which is very simple, which I can tell you later point of time, and you can very much do that. So, all right then, thank you so much for watching this video. In the next video, we will talk more interesting stuff on our trading.